unknown guest joining us the second half of the show. It's a ghost hunter from Tri-C Ghost Hunters of Ohio. We are so excited.
Just in time for spooky season.
Yes. So you will not want to miss the second half of our show to talk about an upcoming ghost hunting program that we have at the Liberty Branch Library. Is it this week? I feel like it's this week. It's like coming up soon.
Yes.
Within the next
Wednesday.
7 days. Yeah. Craziness. It is spooky season. Hannah and I might have some news to break for you.
Oh, boy.
If you follow politics, you have been surely hearing about Senator Dianne Feinstein, who has been missing some committees, different things like that. And we have heard that Senator Feinstein has passed.
Yes.
Senator? Representative.
Senator,
yeah. So you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I know. We just got the news coming in, and we're like, oh, maybe we can break it. We're not a hard news program. We're a very soft news program. Very, very, very soft news program. All right. Well, we're going to get into books that are going to be more uplifting than notice of a senator's passing. Hannah,
Hi.
what have you been reading?
I've been reading lots of things.
Spooky season things?
We are, for our book club on our personal time, are reading a book called Babel.
Are we?
Well, I'm trying. I'll be
you?
honest. It's the theme for this month is dark academia. I've been taking a little break from this book club, but I'm trying to hop back in. And it is 21 hours long. I'm listening.
How you doing with that?
It's pedantic. This author wants you to know she went to Oxford, gosh darn it. And she wants you to know she did her research. And so it's...
R.F. Kuang?
Kuang, yeah.
Kuang.
Kuang. Kuang. So, Anthony, Lizzie, if you're listening, big thumbs down so far. I'm 11 hours in, and
Good for you.
makes me want to drive my car into the Olentangy.
So I have not started it because I am a failure when it comes to our personal book club. I'm the worst member of a book club. But tell us, what's it about? What's the general concept?
It is an alternate history set in like the 1820s, and in this version of the world, naturally England is still a superpower, but the world is powered by silver bars, and language and spells are sort of cast on these silver bars. So like they make carriages rumble, and they have one language that means this thing in English or another language, and like the pair of the words, the cognates, what they mean makes magic happen and makes things go. That, however, is not the crux of it. It's more about the power struggle of England as a superpower and other nations sort of going against that and kind of resisting. It is called Babel, or the Necessity of Violence.
Oh.
That's like the subtitle. But yeah, I think you can skip it, to be totally honest.
Oh, no.
I don't usually come on here
And bash a book.
but this one is, I'm going to finish it just because I'd like to go to this book club and talk about it. But it's actually not all that dark academia. It's definitely more about the politics of the time than it is about the setting in Oxford. Oxford is more of a background drop, but like, I don't know. It's not my favorite.
Kuang is getting a lot of talk right now because of her most recent book, Yellowface.
Yes.
Which I just listened to a podcast that was just, praising Yellowface through and through and through, which also kind of deals a little bit with, language and time and place. And
yeah, I don't actually know that much about Yellowface, but Miss Kuang she's very smart, and she is a good writer, but she's very proud of herself for her time at Oxford.
Right. I usually find
which she should be.
Yeah,
that's an incredible accomplishment.
I usually find that those books that are 22 hours, if I have the book and the audio book, and I can like double up, it speeds it up a little bit. How's the reader?
The reader's okay. They also there's two readers. There's one who reads the main thing, and every footnote is read by a different reader.
Oh. Why are there footnotes?
Because this is an academic text.
But it's not. But it's fiction.
Yes, I'm aware.
Oh, I don't like. Oh, I have feelings now.
You might need to come to the book club, even if you haven't read it.
Why are there footnotes in a fictional?
Because she went to Oxford.
Oh no, I don't like this at
It's
all.
not. And I love dark academia. Like for my my November book club through the Ostrander Branch Library, we're doing a book that we read once through our other book club called The Likeness by Tana French, and it is like pure dark academia. So. I don't know, swing and a miss.
Aww.
I might have to get more involved in this book club because they keep picking real stinkers. The past 4 or 5 months have not been Not been my cup of tea.
Our personal book club is getting a roast this morning.
I love all of them dearly. I do.
Did you know, yeah.
But it's a lot of fantasy.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I know. They do though honor me. They honor me once a year, and they let us do a nonfiction, and I get so happy about that.
Yeah, but I had to talk Babel today because otherwise I've just been reading 5 Chili Peppers.
Yes.
So, and it's not easy to talk about on radio.
Steamy romance. I found a book that I actually can't give my own personal recommendation to, but I can give like the rest of the internet's recommendation to. It is a debut novel. It is called The Center, and it is spelled Centre. The Centre. No. And it is by Ayesha, Manazir, Siddiqi. I will spell most of that for you. Ayesha is Ayesha, Manazir, Manazir, and Siddiqi is Siddiqui. And this is a story about, it's very dark. So it's perfect time of year for a spooky, something kind of dark thriller. Actually, one of the podcasts that I was listening to that was really recommending this was saying it was a great summer thriller read, just a page turner.
Okay, yeah.
The person who was recommending it was saying like, when I go on holiday, I want to, sit and devour something that I can't put down. And so she likes thrillers for that. And so basically we have a Pakistani translator who's in London, and she is her dream is to kind of be a translator for literary novels, and that would be like the perfect thing for her because she knows so much. She's a linguist. She knows so many languages.
Did she go to Babel?
I don't know.
Because that's what they do there.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Well, she went to the center.
Ooh.
What if they're intertwined?
What? Is it 1820?
No. And so she's struggling. She's not getting the books that she wants to publish. She's not getting to translate. She's not getting the jobs, this and that. So she's just kind of like helping people out. And so she ends up meeting a man who she gives some lessons to. And she's trying to teach him how to speak Urdu, and it's not working. Like, he is just not picking it up. And so finally, she goes on a trip, and they've kind of have a relationship now, and he comes along, and he meets her family, and then miraculously, he's speaking fluent Urdu. And she's like, what happened? How in the world? And he basically is like, well, I'll tell you, but it's going to have a cost. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I went to the center. And she's like, well, what is the center? And he's like, well, it's a place where they can teach you any language in the world in 10 days. And but there is a very specific method with how they teach you. And I can't tell you about that. You just have to go to experience it if you want to. And so she is kind of like, well, that's very interesting. And he says, oh, and by the way, I'm only allowed to tell one person, and you're my person. So don't tell anyone else. So there's secretiveness. There's, what is the center? What's happening,
Ooh, mysterious.
with, this place. The cool thing about this, story is that basically whenever she figures out about the center, this elite invite-only program that guarantees absolute fluency in any language in just 10 days.
Sign me up.
She goes ahead and enrolls, right? And she, kind of like, it's like when you go to the hospital or prison or anything, and they're like, take all of your things and put it in a bag and put it over here.
So those two things are very different, Nicole.
Seem similar in certain ways.
I do.
Of your personal wares.
There you go.
Little bag over here. So she realizes that there are some disturbing hidden costs of the services that the center is offering. Big picture, like book club book talk about this. Appropriation, like how do you experience language without experiencing culture? How do you learn language without knowing the specifics of the context?
I'm adding it to my list of books for potential book club for
and
Ostrander.
Of course, ultimately, what price would you be willing to pay for success? So The Center, spelled the British way, Centre, by Ayesha Manazir Siddiqi. This one, I only got to hear the book talk about it, like I said, on several different book talks. And I was like, I'm all in. I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a debut?
It is a debut.
Yep. My book club loves debuts. We've had a lot of success with those.
Yeah, it's a really good time. All right, so we are already at like our halftime break, and we are going to take a break. And on the second half of the show, we are going to be talking ghost hunting.
Ooh.
So do not miss it. Stay tuned. Well, thank you, Gage. And we are so happy to be here today. Your hosts are Nicole Fowles with the Delaware County District Library, Hannah Simpson.
Pew, pew, pew.
We're so happy to just be alternating back and forth between the communications department and Molly. And today we have a phone guest joining us. It is Lisa Rorris from the Tri-C Ghost Hunters. And Lisa, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're so happy to have you calling in with us this morning. We have got so much to talk about. But first, I just want to say, tell us about Tri-C Ghost Hunters and how you got involved with them.
Sure. Tri-C Ghost Hunters, the Tri-C is Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. So we kind of break up the state and surrounding areas based on geography. I myself am one of the lead investigators and case managers for the Columbus team. Back in 2013, there was a few of us that were members of a different paranormal team. And we just decided that, the direction that group was going in was a little different than what we wanted to do. Our heart, our passion is to help people feel comfortable in their homes and businesses, and to find the truth, and in a lot of cases find logical explanations that could be causing what the client actually thinks is paranormal. So several of us left that other group and actually formed Tri-C Ghost Hunters back in 2013. And the rest is history.
Yeah. And we're so happy to have connected with you with the Delaware County District Library. You will be at our Liberty Branch Library on Wednesday, October 4th at 6 p.m. We do ask that people pre-register for that program. What's a taste of what somebody's going to hear whenever they come to the program on Wednesday?
Sure. So I'll be bringing a handful of our team members with me. And I usually pop up a little slide presentation for them, teach them some basics on some of the equipment that we use. And then we also give them a taste of some evidence that we've actually captured at some other cases over the years. And then a big part of the session is question and answer. Everybody is so curious about the paranormal and paranormal investigating. Rewind 10 years ago, it was taboo. You really didn't talk about it. But now it's just so much more widely accepted, and there's a lot of curiosity out there. So a good portion of it is going to be question and answer, and you never know where it'll go.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask, what percentage of your audience do you think is skeptics versus believers, or hecklers versus, diehards?
I would say 80-20. 80 show up because they're all in, total believers.
Right.
And then you have that 20%, and you can just read their body language. They're kind of slumped in their chair. Their hands are crossed over their chest.
Somebody brought them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Somebody drugged them, to the event. So, those are the people that I try to speak to. And it's actually fun to kind of watch as the session progresses. They kind of sit up a little straighter in their seat, the arms come off their chest, and then they start asking questions too. And, silently in my mind, I'm like, yes, I got them.
Yeah, 100% converts by the
Love
end.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know about 100%. Let's say 90 to 95.
There we go.
Excellent. Now, when you are, investigating a location, how many of those are homes versus businesses versus historical sites? What's that sort of breakdown?
Yeah, I would say probably 70% are private homes. And the last 30% really, in my opinion, are broken down between historical sites and businesses. Historical sites, we've really kind of found our niche in historical sites.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a blessing, I think, for the historical site and then also our team to be able to partner together. And we use our experience and talents in the investigation and paranormal fields to help the historical sites actually raise money for preservation, restoration, things like that. So the focus is getting, I guess, shifting more and more as the word gets out to the public that we are willing to help in those situations. Mm-hmm. Businesses kind of sprinkled in there. It's hard with businesses because, number one, they don't want the public to know in most cases that something's going on because it'll hurt business. And then also, we have locations where bars and restaurants, they can't just shut down, from 7 p.m. to midnight or whatever it is for us to investigate, because then they lose out on sales. Mm-hmm. So that's getting less and less. But residents is probably the biggest thing that we focus on in most of our cases that come to us. And like I said in the beginning, not everything's paranormal. First and foremost, we want to find logical explanations for the claims that the client is telling us and experiencing. And I can't even imagine living in a house that you do not feel comfortable in. We're actually working on a case right now. She hasn't slept in her house in 2 weeks. She's staying at an Airbnb. So we're working with her to work through some of the things. And, our team has been in contact with her a lot. She's a little bit hesitant to bring us in to do an investigation. She's afraid that it will ramp up the activity, which is always possible. The end goal is we want our clients to feel comfortable in their home or business, and we'll do whatever we need to help make that happen. If it's an investigation, if it's just listening to them because everybody else thinks they're crazy, we'll listen to them, we'll talk it through with them. And we do not charge for our services. I want to throw that out there.
Oh, that's
our
amazing.
team is completely volunteer.
Wow.
From our events, our presentations, our investigations, that is completely free. Our volunteers are wonderful people from all walks of life, blue collar, white collar, military, law enforcement. We have a great mix of investigators, which are all background checked, by the way, every single year. That way you know the caliber of person that you're letting into your home or business.
Oh, that's really great to know. So you've got somebody who calls you and says, I think that there's something strange happening. It could be paranormal. You make it to their home or their business, and you either debunk or, confirm with evidence. Like, yeah, we actually do think that this could be paranormal. We can't find any other logical reason that this scenario is happening. What happens next? Do you, what do you do after that? You've confirmed it. Now, do we exorcise it? What do we do next?
Yeah, we are not demonologists. We're not exorcists. And every case is different. A lot of times the client just wants to know what is going on. Mm-hmm. And luckily, a lot of times we can say, nothing's going on. We found this explains this explains this. And then they're like, oh, thank God. And we all move along.
Yes.
The ones where we are still scratching our heads and we're honest with them, you may have something paranormal. We don't have a logical explanation. So it is possible. Every case is different. We will work with the client and ask them, what do you want?
Mm-hmm. What's the resolution for you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Every client wants something different. Some will say, don't do a thing. I just wanted confirmation and, don't make it go away. Mm-hmm. Some say, get it out of here. Okay, well, we have, I can't guarantee you that we're going to be able to get it out, whatever it is.
Right.
But we do have psychics and mediums that we can bring in, and they can work with us to help identify what exactly is there. And a lot of times, something as simple as me telling the client, this is your home. Take your stand respectfully, and out loud you tell the spirit, you're scaring me. I don't want you here. Or, hey, it's okay that you're here, but you are scaring us. Can you just leave us alone.
Tone it
And
down
you
a
can
little
stay.
bit. Yeah.
You can stay, but we don't want to hear or see you, you know?
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of times that does the trick.
That is so neat. Okay, we've got a couple minutes left, but let's talk about equipment. People who have watched the ghost hunting shows that really like rose in popularity in the late 2000 2005 to like 2015. They see the EVPs and they see the all the different things. Like how much of those are worthwhile and how much are just junk?
That's really tough. I think for every piece of equipment that you find positives for, I could counteract with a negative. And, and I could say, well, walkie-talkies or cell phones will also set it off, things like that. So what we do is we use multiple pieces of equipment at the same time that actually take different readings and react to different things to see if they will interact together. So it's more about, instead of just using one piece of equipment, to use multiple pieces of equipment.
You're like
but
journalists of the
everybody,
paranormal, double checking your sources. Yeah.
Your best tools are your senses. A lot of these cases we'll go into, and yes, we'll use the equipment, but your five senses are your best tools that you have.
It is very, very true. We've been talking with Lisa Rorris of the Tri-C Ghost Hunters. There is a program coming up at the Liberty Branch Library on Wednesday, October 4th at 6 p.m. In our community rooms. We still have space available for you to register. You're going to want to do that at delawarelibrary.org/event and go to October 4th. Click on that Ghost Hunters link and you'll be able to register for it. Lisa, it's been such a pleasure talking with you this morning. I can't wait to see what you will present on Wednesday.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Well, in this final part of the show, we're going to go through a couple things that we've got coming up at the library. Of course, we want to see you at Ghost Hunters on October 4th. But we've also got, if you're still available this Saturday, tomorrow night, if you're not going to, there's also a Ghost Hunters walk in the Northwest neighborhood, but tickets are sold out. So unless you bought your ticket long ago, you're not making it to that. So if you're a teen, you can come and play Dungeons & Dragons at the Orange Branch Library.
Always a great time.
It's after hours from 5 to 8. That's always a good time. We've got our seed swap starting up at the Liberty Branch. I don't know how to do any of that, but...
My thumb is black.
Yeah.
Not green.
No.
But if you do have a green thumb, and these are generally native plants or heirloom plants that you've cultivated, bring them into the Liberty Branch.
Yeah.
Pick up some new varieties for yourself.
That's right. That's right. Because we were saying that if there are any leftover native plants from the native plant swap a couple weeks ago, you can still pick those up.
No.
Are they gone?
Those are gone. The plants are gone. But the seeds, it's time for
seeds
seeds.
are coming. Yes. So come and you can bring seeds or take seeds. That should be much less messy than the native plants.
Yes.
This is Around the World in Books and Bites on Tuesday, October 3rd at 1 o'clock is meeting at Aladdin's Eatery.
Yum.
They're talking about The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. And if you know Joy and you have been participating in Around the World in Books and Bites with Joy, this is her last one.
Yes, it is.
So come and say goodbye to Joy. She is moving on to greener pastures. We will miss her very much. This has been such a fun program.
Yes, it has.
All right. Well, we will leave you with that. Again, come to Ghost Hunters on October 4th and read books. Have a great time. Thank you for being my co-host, Hannah.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for driving the board, Gage. Until next week, we will see you in the stacks.